What's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video, and today we are again talking Olympic basketball. The U.S. men's team just played their first game of the tournament against Serbia, and it was a fun game. It was really back and forth for the first half. Serbia took a couple of leads. They blitzed the U.S. out of the gate. I think they were up like 10-2, and then the U.S. went on a run. It was back and forth up until the second half where the U.S. kind of just turned on the Jets. They dominated and ended up winning 110-84, a 26-point statement win for the favorites in the tournament. And there's a lot to talk about in this game, so I want to go ahead and break it down, go over what went right for the U.S., what didn't go well for Serbia, and just kind of give you that recap. Also, I'll talk a little bit at the end about South Sudan versus Puerto Rico, because that game happened earlier too today, like 5 a.m. Eastern here on the East Coast. I do want to reiterate something I said in my last Olympics video, which y'all showed a lot of love to, by the way. I appreciate that. Probably won't be any highlights, maybe a couple in this video at the most. The Olympics don't play around. Like, they will immediately copyright strike the video, even my channel. I know a lot of other content creators who have already gotten strikes because they've used Olympic footage, so just a heads up if you're wondering why there's not a lot of clips. I saw a couple of comments last video. I would love to put clips in here. It's just that the Olympic Committee, again, does not play around with the rights to the footage. So let's talk about what happened. And for the U.S., they were led by two guys, one of whom turns 40 this year, one of whom is getting up there into his 30s, and they were clearly the best two players on the court for the United States, LeBron James and Kevin Durant. They were insane. For Kevin Durant, he didn't play in, I don't think, any of the exhibition games. I don't remember him playing. I was at US versus Canada, and I believe that was the first one, so I don't think he played in any of them because he was dealing with an injury that he suffered in training camp that he was just trying to rehabilitate. They weren't going to rush him back into the lineup or anything like that for exhibitions, but in this game, comes off the bench and was perfect. I think his first 8 shots he hit, I believe he was 8 for 8, finishes 8 for 9, 5 of 5 from 3. He was just shooting right over guys. I mean, there was no answer for Kevin Durant. He's one of the most dominant scorers of all time. He's the all-time leading scorer for men's Team USA hoops. He's the greatest U.S. international basketball player ever. There is nobody who's performed on the international stage for the United States quite to the level of Kevin Durant, who's already got 4 gold medals, I believe. I know he won at the World Cup a couple of years ago. He's about to have another one. It seems likely if the U.S. keeps playing like this. Kevin Durant's a monster. Finishes with 23 points, a couple of rebounds, and again, he came off the bench in this game. The fact that the U.S. can be perfectly fine and win in a blowout when Kevin Durant is coming off the bench and not even playing that many minutes is completely absurd. They had a couple crazy bench lineups out there, like full bench lineups of Derek White, Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Bam Adebayo, and Anthony Davis. It's absurd that that level of talent is a full bench unit, which is it's just crazy. But yeah, KD was unstoppable. It was great to see him playing out there, you know, having a lot of space around him, being that dominant mid-range threat three-point assassin. He had one three-point shot that looked eerily similar to when he hit that shot in the finals over LeBron James, and I believe it was the 2017 finals. Yeah, KD is a monster, and it was just cool to see him out there dominating. Glad he's healthy again. And then LeBron James, who, again, almost is 40 years old. He turns 40 in December, I believe. Didn't look like it in this game. 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. He was an assist and 2 boards away from a triple-double. I believe it would have been his first triple-double in international play. Had a steal, 9 of 13 shooting, 1 of 3 from deep. And some crazy photos came out of this game where LeBron was just barreling through contact. Guys were hacking him. Like, there was one dunk where he rumbled through like 3 defenders and threw it down, and there was a crazy photo that came out of that. It's wild how much burst he still has at nearly 40 years old, how much he just sheds defenders still. It looks like he hasn't lost a step. And I know he has, because he's no longer the consensus best player in the world like he once was for like a decade, but it still feels like LeBron could go head-to-head with anybody on any given night. Again, this is a team full of all-star guys. Nikola Jokic was out there, and LeBron James has a convincing argument to have been the best player on the court today for the United States. I don't know when, if ever, he's going to start slowing down. It feels like he could legitimately play till he's 50. And just seeing him and KD play alongside each other is really fun, as well as like Steph Curry, just these legends of this past era, the Titans of the 2010s. it's cool to see them going out there and being able to dominate alongside each other on the international stage for potentially and probably the last time at the Olympics. For Steph Curry, he also had a good game, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Had a turnaround 3 in like the final few possessions because of course he did. He's a monster. And it's just cool to see all these guys dominate in a variety of ways. Like LeBron is still that physical force who has gotten a bit better at 3-point shooting, but he's also that guy that'll pick you apart cerebrally with his playmaking. Then Kevin Durant is just this mid-range assassin who doesn't really attack the rim all that much anymore, but it doesn't matter because he's still a 7-footer that can shoot over you. Steph Curry still has this insane cardio where he's running off of screens and knocking down threes. They all have very different play styles, but they all work seamlessly together. So yeah, shout out to those 3 guys continuing to play at an all-world level despite getting up there in age. For the rest of Team USA, Jrue Holiday was 6 of 8 for 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He was great. Great defense as well. Book was really good, 4 or 5 from deep, 12 points, 5 dimes. You saw Joel Embiid. A lot of people were clowning him, but I felt like he played fine, especially defensively. Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis both had good games. 7 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals from Anthony Davis in particular. Anthony Edwards had 11 points on 4-6 shooting. Like, the U.S. shot 62% from the field in this game. They legitimately couldn't miss. Derek White had some really good minutes as well defensively. One of the bigger stories is that 2 DNPs on the team, Tyrese Haliburton, which makes sense because you've got Jrue Holiday, you've got Derek White, you've got Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, Devin Booker. Like, the U.S. started 3 guards. They've got so many guards. It's understandable that Tyrese didn't play, although I really hope he gets to play at some point because it's really fun to watch him have all those weapons out there in the exhibition games, just diming guys up. I mean, he was the floor general of the best offense of all time for a majority of this past season, and he was doing it with guys that were nowhere near the talent level of Team USA, so I do hope Tyrese gets some more run, and I'm sure he will at some point. But probably a bigger storyline is that Jayson Tatum did not play a single minute in this game, and I thought maybe he was sick. I know there were some reports that there was some illness going around, like the Olympic Village or at Team USA or something like that. I think it was Team USA in particular because Embiid was questionable coming into today. But Tatum was asked after the game, are you feeling fine? Like, are you physically good? And he said, yeah, he was perfectly fine, just didn't play. And Steve Kerr was asked about it. He said that he decided to not play Tatum, just felt like it wasn't the right match. We kind of went with what was working. It's kind of crazy to see Tatum, who is a top 10 player. He was just the best player on a championship team. I know some people are going to argue that. In my opinion, the best player on the Boston Celtics doesn't end up playing a single minute. Celtics fans are not happy about it. People are relentlessly clowning him online. Some of the tweets are kind of funny, but I would be surprised if Tatum didn't get a lot of run throughout this tournament. I just think for this first game, it didn't really work out in his favor. Plus, with KD coming back and looking so good, that's another forward that steps in. I do think Tatum's going to play more. Steve Kerr said he's going to play more, but yeah, not seeing him out there on the court for game 1 after I felt like he played pretty good in the exhibition games was very surprising. Looking forward for Team USA, they actually don't play again until Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And it's against South Sudan, who was the team that nearly beat them in the exhibitions. They won their first game today against Puerto Rico, so I'm excited to see that one. That should be a lot of fun. Quickly for Serbia, and then I'll talk quickly about South Sudan versus Puerto Rico. Jokic was insane, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 8 of 15 shooting. He was just dominating guys on the block, whether it was Joel Embiid or Anthony Davis or Bam Adebayo. They were able to slow him down a little bit, but of course you can't stop Nikola Jokic. And actually, when he was out there on the court for Serbia, they were even. Like, they played the U.S. to a direct tie. His plus-minus was a 0. As for when he was off the court, the Serbian team was outscored by 26 points. So clearly the non-Jokic minutes are a massive detriment to this team. I mean, it's not surprising when you take arguably, or in my opinion, the best player in the world off the court. You're going to be way worse. They just really don't have the talent to keep up with the United States when Jokic isn't out there dominating. Was not a crazy game for Bogdan Bogdanovic. He did have 16 points, but just 6 of 14 shooting. Petrusev brought a couple of points, but overall didn't have that massive impact. Micic was 3 of 10 off the bench. Jovic was just 1 of 6. Was not really Serbia's game. Again, I mean, the U.S. are the clear favorites for a reason, but I did like the way they played in the Jokic minutes. They've just got to find a way to survive a little bit better when he's off the court, and this is still a team that can make some noise in the tournament. And then for South Sudan versus Puerto Rico, South Sudan does grab the win 90-79, and it was the same guys that kind of gave the U.S. problems in that exhibition game. Marial Shayok had 15 points, 3 rebounds on 5 of 10 shooting. You had Carlik Jones, who was playing really well, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 of 15 shooting. He was kind of on triple-double watch, playing 37 minutes. assists. He was phenomenal out there. For Puerto Rico, Jose Alvarado was the guy that he's been all throughout their qualifying and exhibition games. 26 points, 5 assists, their best player. Tremont Waters, just 6 of 19 shooting, wasn't really his game. They just didn't really have the firepower to keep up with South Sudan. Overall shot 38.6% from the field. Also 58% from the free throw line. Like, if they knocked down some more of those free throws, they would have had a chance. South Sudan shoots 14 of 15, so they really won that battle. But yeah, Puerto Rico, they really needed this one. They're in a rough spot. But for South Sudan, I mean, if they can give the U.S. some problems and keep that point differential decent, they've got a chance to be one of those teams that makes it out of the group stage. So I'm excited. They've been a really fun watch. If you haven't watched their games, if you didn't watch them play the U.S., I'm sure you'll probably watch them play here in the Olympics. A lot of people will. But they've been a lot of fun, really rooting for them to find success. And yeah, that's your quick recap of day 2 of the Olympics. Not as much action as day 1, but Team USA playing, it was a lot of fun to see all these stars out there. I'm excited to see what happens the rest of the way. Again, I want to thank you so much for your support on the first Olympics video, because that video is one of my best performing through the first, I think it's been up for around 16 or 17 hours ever. It might be the best performing, which is completely insane. I really appreciate y'all. And yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Let me know what you thought about these games. Can anybody beat Team USA? Who's their biggest threat and why? I appreciate you all watching. I will see you all later. Real one, say it back.